It's February 5th. This is the morning session. Woke up late again, but having coffee, hanging out. I took some small wins yesterday, nothing big like a second place, in a 9-player, third place, that sort of thing. Nothing substantial. Nothing that I felt like was worth preserving for posterity. I've continued to watch Lex play on some of his video, and it's kind of amazing to see some of the edges of his play. And I got sniffles again. Morning time. Have had a couple of tournaments where just get blinded away. There's just nothing, to my mind, nothing to get started playing with. Usually, if I play kind of tight, I'll catch a decent hand, take a pot or two, and then I've got a little more chips to start betting with, being a little more loose. But if that process doesn't happen, I just get blinded away, and then the other players, in my experience, just kind of gang up on you because you've been too weak, too soft the entire tournament. I had another where I took 8th or 9th in a 2-player, 27-player, $2 tournament. And it was a little frustrating. I kind of went on tilt at one point because this guy was playing so aggressively. He was just lording over the table at points. And there was a pivotal situation where he was in late position. I had a pair of 10s in early position. I had enough to bet, but not enough that I felt comfortable jamming a pair of 10s with. And what I thought was going to happen happened, which is I made a standard bet and he jammed all in. And at that point, I have a choice. I can assume he's got it. I'm assuming he can bluff that he's got it. And I can lose and essentially just bubble, not make anything because we're getting very close to the bubble. But after I let it go, of course, I'm greatly weakened. I did not have much to fight back with. That sort of situation is annoying to me, and I'm not exactly certain what the correct way of dealing with it is. If I was at a final table and we had 5, 6 people left, the way I play that 10s is different. Those are some of my edges trying to figure out how I'm going to play certain hands in certain positions. The issue I see with Lex's play when he's playing these tournaments where they're deep stacked is there are often times where, let's say he has 100 big blinds. If he has 100 big blinds and he's playing against somebody who's got 30 big blinds, they're only going to take a third of his stack if it gets to that. That changes the parameters and it makes people want to play a little bit more loose, particularly when they've got a big stack. They can call a lot of bets to try to draw out on somebody and give them an edge depending on what the board shows. Oof, I gotta blow my nose again. In my case, I'm also trying to build a bankroll, so I play a little more conservatively, but that player, if he's not worried about losing $2, what does it matter? He gets to lord it over the table in a way it's interesting to me to think about. It was one of those hands where I wasn't really certain what to do. And when I said I went on tilt, it was more like mentally than, I was throwing chips around because there wasn't much to throw around. There was another hand I had Queen 9 offsuit, and I bet, or made a standard bet for me. He called from late position, and the flop was ace, ace, X. I bet he called, the turn came, I made a smaller bet, and then he, like, you know, called, and then he put in a larger amount. And with two aces on the board, he's been so loose. I'm going, okay, I haven't connected with anything. I don't know how to proceed from here because I don't know if I'm ahead or not. And of course, he made a large bet. I let it go, and then he flashes Queen 9 offsuit, or Queen 9 suited. In other words, he flashed the hand I was holding, which was more annoying because it was like shoving it in my face that I'm a tight player and he knows the odds well enough to do this. Now, I'm making all this scenario up in my head, by the way. Like, I don't really know. I mean, the player could be, drinking excessive amounts of liquor and just throwing money around, chips. But the edges of the play are what I'm looking at and trying to understand certain hands in certain positions, how to deal with bets, raises, calls, re-raises, shoves, how to manage table dynamics. And sometimes I think it is good that I get used to the game being a little boring, in the sense that, I've got 4 or 5 offsuit. Am I really going to go at this and try to take somebody down with it? Well, again, table dynamics to me, it's like it's not as worth it to be aggressive in the early stages of a tournament because you got a bunch of yahoos at the table who will get eliminated. And also, the blinds aren't very big, so when you steal, you're not stealing for much. For me, it's about long-term growth. And I look at the bankroll and go, man, I played for, 4 or 5 hours yesterday. And it's like, yeah, but you're $4 ahead of where you were. If you go from 140 to 144, that's not a huge amount of growth, but you didn't lose money. You have more buy-ins to keep playing so that you can continue building the bankroll. And every tournament isn't going to be a first place. It's been nice to see Lex play and then see him maybe make a final table, but very low on the final table. Just get cracked by somebody who catches some lucky cards. See him get frustrated, irritated. And I think fundamentally that's all part of the game. If I'm emotionally attached to what's going on at the table, I can't make moves as easily. I think about Doyle Brunson all the time, and Doyle has played and I think had very little financial issues for many, many years, since the World Series of Poker at least. And Doyle doesn't want to lose money, but does it really matter to his overall bankroll? And the reason I bring up Doyle is because he's so old at this point. He's had so much experience at the table that doesn't matter that somebody's playing aggressively or not aggressively or whatever it is. and certainly nothing surprising to him. That sort of situational awareness, knowing what's going on at the table, but understanding that, you know, it's just $2. Doesn't matter. When you took a first, you made 12. You can buy in 6 more times. I take the game very seriously, even though I'm playing for extremely low stakes at this stage. I've spent more time in the past weeks working on the poker game and the way I'm playing than I am on my business. And we're about to hit class season starting on Monday. Things are going to ramp up, but I'm still going to play regularly. I really want to be able to continue building my bankroll, continue playing online, see if I can improve and just how far I can take it. Seeing Lex play for thousands of dollars kind of blows me away. But again, I realize that his overall bankroll is so high that it doesn't, it doesn't matter. He knows that he can lose and he's not going to not have rent money. Going to let him bet till his death. I was nervous about calling that. I'm a little more concerned about the spade draw. And instead of waiting for him to catch up with something, I thought it was better to put him in. Not perfect, but I think especially at this early stage in the table, on a table, and where I'm in the small blind, I was a little concerned about that. So again, situational awareness. I can do that in my head now very rapidly. And that's the stuff that I can tell Lex has spent untold hours. One of the things that the digital revolution brought when it came to poker and especially online poker was multi-tabling. Someone like Lex in his 20s could play, 10 tournaments at a time. The number of hands, situations, math, statistics, like the amount of stuff they deal with on a daily basis is like exponentially larger than any player could have dealt with before that because you were sitting at an in-person table. Very different. Sometimes to me my betting seems transparent, but knowing how much to bet in certain situations is something that I'll have to learn and work. want to build the bankroll, always look at it like, is it fun? Are you enjoying the game? Are you having a good time playing with people? Are you emotionally attached to what's going on? Because me building my bankroll by about $4 is not exactly the sorts of outcomes I want to have for the day. But can you turn that $4 into, well, I only grew my bankroll by $400 today? I think that's completely possible. It's just going to take a lot of time and dedication, a lot of practice, a lot of playing against better players. I see the edges and the margins on what Lex is doing are much more challenging. These players are inordinately good. I would get slaughtered at the tables that they're playing. I can watch these other players interact with Lex and what's going on, and I'm like, man, I think I'd get chewed up. My game just is not that good yet. And that's a humbling experience to observe and then realize that, again, even if Lex is a few years younger than me, he's been playing intensely for many, many years. And his mathematical game is probably immensely strong because he's played online for so long. He's had to rely on that to be able to give him an idea of how to play things. More practice. The reason I stay at small stakes is it allows me to learn and grind with other players at a level that I can afford to take the risk. I don't think as much of somebody who's just got the money to gamble with. It doesn't impress me. You can have a quarter of my skill and murder me at a table if you can afford to lose. The other players that I'm with at the table right now, who are completely nameless and faceless, can they long term win consistently? And based on the stuff I see, I really wonder about that. I know that I am winning consistently, very small, but I am winning consistently. And I don't know if other players are doing the same. If he's got it, he's just going to have to take it. It was an interesting article that went through my feed about Mark Zuckerberg trying to get Facebook to focus on video because TikTok is making them lose value. TikTok has grown, and I haven't experienced any essential or massive virality there. A few videos have gotten close to 1 million views at one point, but I just can't really find my voice on the platform. I continue to make mixed content because it's so not work related. Some of the bodywork videos, in fact, did the worst. So, I put $100 one time into TikTok to be able to run an ad to test things out, and essentially just lost $100, had no conversions at all. I see ads on TikTok, and it's just a weird platform. It's more like Vine. I found it interesting that Mark Zuckerberg was saying that the company's focusing on video because I put video on Facebook and it does paltry. Like it's just not being consumed. And there's this challenge that I have between entertainment and education. I'm making now, poker videos and liquor tastings and coffee reviews to try to generate more noise about what it is I'm doing, because the bodywork side is just dead. Like the students aren't watching stuff, aren't interested in it, aren't sharing it, aren't. And it's like, unfortunately, the only thing I'm really good at is courting controversy. I'm very, very good at making massage therapists angry by saying things that they don't like or don't agree with. Facebook focusing on video leads me to a weird spot. Like even on YouTube, I went into the YouTube app on my phone and it's like they're trying to, oh man, they're trying to get me to use YouTube with a story. Like it's a weird situation because the social media platforms are cannibalizing features from each other. So it wasn't enough to have Google. Now we have to have Google My Business, which is like your own little profile that you can post to. It's a weird scene because I want to use what's freely available to be able to draw potential customers in and communicate with them. But with the amount of information people are given, I think it's overwhelming. Students can frankly just message me, and yeah, some do. But are they messaging me questions about things that they are interested in learning through our private Facebook group, through our subscription service? They have nearly unlimited access. They have access to education through me in ways that is completely unprecedented, but they're also not completely taking advantage of it, not to its fullest expression. I was hoping a 6 would fall. More coffee. The state of education itself, just to give you an idea, and this is something I've been challenged with. I'm recording myself playing poker using my computer, and it's the same technology that I use to do my classes online. I'm just scenes and stuff. I'm running 4 camera angles, anatomy on screen, putting stuff up, and teaching live. I literally cannot build an audience of students who will study with me that way because they don't understand how I'm using the technology yet. It's not something anyone has ever done. And all I want to do is say, okay, listen, I'll just teach you 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year from my studio. What? I'm like, I'll just turn on the cameras and teach you live. And they're like, but it doesn't conform to the way they've had information before. So it's a little confusing. And I just realized that I was going to have to take my time trying to figure that out, just build a new audience beyond my subscription service. I would have to, in other words, if I've got workbooks, DVDs, online classes, subscription, like I've got all these portals, you just have to continue building and fostering all of them. And some people are going to want one or the other for various reasons. This looks interesting. I'm just going to flat this. I'm not super excited about it. I want to check and see if they bet it out. You know, could they have limped with a much weaker hand? I mean, the problem is that the diamond is, you know, connects with my three, but it's not that strong. I'd prefer to just let this go. I'm assuming they must have like an overpair or be trying to pull out a draw. The board just didn't continue to work, and they're asking me too much to keep going. I wish I would have bet maybe a little bit lower on that, but it's okay. You prefer to get called when you got a pair of aces. But what did his bet solve? I mean, education itself, I did not do well in school, really in any stage. Oh, okay here and there, but never really excelled. And it's not because I'm not intelligent, it's because the information being covered, whether or not it connected, whether or not it was interesting, did I feel like there was any real reason? See, this two times the big blind is what screws me up. King 10 is one of those problem hands, and I'm afraid of not being able to play that forcefully after the flop. School, When I had access to the internet the first time in 1995, was about memorization. It was about memorizing the formulas that the teachers gave you, which I was never great at. I was a better thinker. I was a better constructive thinker, philosophy student, writing essays, listening to lectures that were an hour long. Okay, I don't like this, but I don't have any other choice here. And he played it well. I mean, he had the hand that, queens are higher for sure, but caught a very lucky two pair. Education itself, not just massage education, but education itself is in a totally different space now. What is information worth when you have access to Google? Free. And this is something I considered even in my early videos of YouTube 10 years ago, where at what point is, let's do this. I mean, if I'm going to play it, I'm going to play it. So, it's like you guys are going to do your thing, and that's fine. If Queen 8 is strong enough for you and you're going to put it in, then we're just going to do it, because I'm not folding that. And the same goes with this. If you got it, you got to take it. I hate chopping that shit. Encourages them to keep doing that. There is a whole host of things going on with education itself, because, I mean, man, how do you explain to a kid having a library card? I mean, the whole game of like data distribution is so different. We were put through so much pen and ink, bullshit as kids. And I always had this sense that it was bullshit, but you're supposed to do what adults are telling you to do. I get the same thing now in the massage industry. They go, well, they taught us this way in school. And I go, yeah, but things have changed. But, and here's what it is. They're kind of like, they're not saying it, but I think what it is, it's like, well, Robert, but we haven't seen you in Massage Magazine. And I'm like, why do you think the powers that be would support what I'm doing? My work changes the entire infrastructure for an industry. My very existence is a thumb in the butthole of reality. Yeah. I don't like this, but I've got to do something. And compared to my ace queen, ace jack, maybe we get a caller and crack somebody. Yeah, that's a perfectly good outcome for that hand. My work, being mat based, calls into question an entire industry, which is what people are not particularly excited about, because they don't want their illusions questioned. If that is the case, then I'm probably not an inordinately good teacher for you. If a student asks me a question and I answer it with a question, I'm a perfectly good philosopher and a teacher that makes them inordinately angry because they just want me to tell them what to do. And I go, well, what are we trying to do? What are our goals? What are we trying to accomplish? Oh, you're doing that shit again. Yeah, that's what I do. And that's it. If I am outstripped by a queen, then so be it. And I was. And this time, did I limp in somehow? I think I did. Or no, was I on the big blind? I think it was on the big blind. It's going in. Definitely with jacks. Jacks or tens if I was going to play it from here. I think this is a better move. Depending on what happens here, these jacks are going in again. I kind of dislike hitting a board and then losing right after. I mean, in other words, like taking a big pot and then losing right after, but this is how it goes. One of them is also likely to fold. It's going to give a lot of fold equity. I doubt both are going to call. Yeah. Did I hit trip jacks twice? I think I did. You know, when information, when you look at it, so look at it from a pure stance of what I'm doing as an educator currently. I'm turning on 4 cameras and streaming to YouTube. The students can call me with questions. There are no geographic borders. People keep asking me, well, does my state, da, 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 da. I'm like, does your state allow access to information across the internet? And they're like, no, but I want CE. I'm like, okay, yeah, the classes are filed through the National Certification Board, but what I just mentioned, me improvising with you every day related to what I'm streaming online, can't be approved by the National Certification Board because there's no infrastructure for what I'm doing. It's past the standards of our industry. I don't understand. What did he just say? How did I get in this hand? Did I do something? Did I limp in? Like what's going on here? I mean, I'm happy to take a small pot, but I don't even know if because I was moved to this table. I'm not sure anyway. I didn't lose any chips, so we're good. There's no precedent for what I'm doing. It's completely unprecedented. Students are sometimes like, well, why don't you open a, basically a brick and mortar and hire me? And I'm like, no, not unless I can buy the shopping center. And they're like, what? I don't understand. And essentially, they want me to play a real estate game. I'm trying to play a digital distribution teaching game globally. If they jammed, yeah, I'm calling that. Who knows? I could easily lose this and be severely crippled, but unless this guy calls, then I'd be in a tougher spot where I might let it go. Oh, don't like the AK after. Queen. Oh man, that sucked. And I understand why he called, but that was a rough spot. Let me see if I can grab another. Where are we at? So I'm in first position here out of 18, so we're pretty good. I'm gonna get another 9 player going. That sucked to run into AK like that, but it does happen. I was hoping that jamming would prevent any further callers. There's no precedent for the sort of distribution that I've got. I mean, we have been running a subscription service in my industry for 5 years, completely unprecedented. There are only recently have I seen other subscriptions pop up where people sort of started to understand what I had figured out years ago. But now I'm at a point where even the subscription doesn't, I mean, it's a wonderful way of like preserving information that I've made. But I mean, I'm having a business conversation while I'm playing No Limit Hold'em on Bovada. Like you can learn business stuff from the conversations I'm having here. So it's an interesting position where data flow and distribution have fundamentally altered. The brick and mortar industries and schools don't get to maintain their control over information. And older therapists are telling me I can't learn online. What I'm looking for are younger therapists who don't even like, what do you mean I can't learn online? Like, how else do you learn? Those are the students I'm looking for. If the work I teach was implemented at scale, it could fundamentally disrupt the entire massage industry. And I'm pretty confident about that. The challenge is it's such a new paradigm, nobody can quite understand it. Even the students who are adepts who are working with me, it takes them a long time to understand the things that I've shifted and changed and how fundamentally polarizing it is. It's not bad, it's just different. It's very different than the mainstream massage industry. So you take a dive with ace queen to ace king. Happens. I had several all in hands that got chopped or whatever against two fairly aggressive players. Was I going to fold my ace queen because, well, somebody might have ace? Well, it's a dollar. And that's what I mean about the statistics and parameters of the game. You know, the goal is to get to the point where I just go into my studio, turn on cameras, and then go ahead and teach live daily. We'll get there eventually, but the marketplace just isn't ready for what I just said. There's no construct for that sort of work at all. And that ace queen, how many times has ace queen cracked ace king? You just catch a lucky queen. I mean, statistically, he's ahead. It's the right move, but there's all sorts of luck and factors involved. At this stage of the game, to me, that's just par for the course. That's just the dollar out of the 12 that I lose and have to earn back by winning at another tournament. Part of me and the degree of innovation I want is to move faster. But what do you do when the audience can't keep pace? They can't keep up with what you're doing. 700 pages of sequence manuals, 9 DVDs of core content, an 800-hour subscription service. There's 800 hours of my curriculum and instruction, not including additional CE classes that are online. Now, I'm rebranding, not calling it Thai massage and moving on because they're making too many assumptions about what I teach based on that name. The students don't understand the basics that I'm trying to teach them, much less the fullest expression of what I'm dealing with. My own industry, and this has been something that has stuck with me for years now, being told this work is amazing, but this isn't massage. Being told that by it's like being a mechanic, working on a car, and then having a mechanic tell you, I don't understand, but this isn't being a mechanic. It doesn't matter that you fixed the car. It doesn't matter that it was cheaper, faster, easier, more efficient. It's like, but this isn't what we're used to. That felt like I had innovated the marketplace. And I don't think that process is going to slow down, but I've got to allow the audience to come along with me, continue to offer products and services in a way that they can purchase. It's kind of like they're still operating from a blockbuster mindset, and I'm like, no, no, we're way past Netflix, bro. Like, we got new stuff now. I don't know what was going on right there, but the guy did make it by the river. I have infinite faith in progress and humanity's capacity for growth. But what we do is up to you. Depends on your choices. As a philosophy student, I had a focus on ethics and existentialism, man's place in the universe, and right behavior. Especially the poker table. Really? You gonna bet ace two off? Really? Ugh. Is that morally upright? Ooh. He was having none of it. I am in third place, looks like, out of 14. 10 makes the money, 5 is where it gets good. Since I amassed a bit of a stack, I can just sit and wait it out. That first position limper. I want to see what happens here. I don't want to take a dive with this hand. I'm likely going to just check this down. I like my ace flush draw. I also like that. This is a big trap because they could have, you know, a variety of aces that are weaker than mine and could hit 2 pair. I managed to keep the pot small and take it. I was afraid by raising that I would hit a brick wall, so to speak. Let's see if I can get this loaded. Wrong one. It's not up. I will bet here. See what happens. Okay, enough. I think that's enough to try to shut it down. Okay. Let me grab this other tournament here. There we go. King 10, I'm not super excited about. Again, it's one of those problem hands, and this isn't even suited. So I'm going to bet. I'm not super excited. I'm not going to put up a huge fight here. I do not want to be in a situation where I get take a major loss with something like this. There we go. 2, 4. This is all suited. I'm going to bet half. So 2 pair. I mean, this is plenty strong enough. If whatever he does, it's going all in. Nice. That's about as positive an outcome for King 10 that I've seen. Let me go here and see if I can resize this. This I'm likely going to bet. They're afraid of bubbling, so they're less likely to call. If the 3900 stack puts up a major fight, depending on the flop, like if they were to jam, I'm probably going to let it go. The 400 chips aren't as important to me as making it to the final table. And they let it go. I will fold here and resize my window. There we go. Much better. We will take a quick pause. Oh, you guys didn't see that at all. I was totally paused. I was talking like you guys were there. I'm like, I didn't record that. No, you didn't miss much. Don't worry. I'm a big stack over here. When I get to the final table, ooh, let's sneeze. Hold on. Ooh, I think I caught it. Oh man! Before you guys had to hear that loud sneeze. Man, I want to avoid a major confrontation. I think this is a perfect spot to flat call a pair of sevens, praying for another at the flop. Ooh, man, I wish. And it's rainbow. Do I want to call for half the stack? And that answer would be no, because I did not hit. Part of me wanted to go with that, but I don't want to be overly aggressive. The other thing was, did I want to bet that and then wind up with somebody, trying to defend Queen 10 or something? I don't know. I'll flat this if they'll let me. And they did, and there was a whole lot of nothing that showed up. I will bet this. Not super excited betting into the big stack. Not super excited about that. I don't want to multi-hand. And I'm actually glad they let that go. I mean, unless I hit another jack at the flop. We're on break now. Oh, now you're on break. Sure. Nice. One of the things that when I talked about distribution that's happened is inside my business, everyone I've worked with has fought me on this. They're like, you have to charge more for the subscription. And I say no, and I fight them tooth and nail. We've had debates about it, we've talked about it, we've discussed it. The subscription is a low barrier of entry offer to get people started and build a larger fan base of dedicated students. If somebody can get the information for $7, why are they paying $1,000 for my suspension masterclass? They want my time, they want my attention, they want my instruction, they want my hand holding. They want me to directly answer questions they have and help them with implementation. So how is it you do both? You've got pre-recorded, very inexpensive, and you've got very high-priced, individualized, personalized attention and instruction. What I see is I'm not selling less workbooks and DVDs or less online classes or less subscription or less in-person classes or less personalized instruction or less online apprenticeships. It's all growing together. As prestige around the brand continues to grow, which we haven't even unveiled a new brand name yet. You keep building. Keep growing, expanding new products and services. I've taken 3 pots with jacks, which is a little weird. Jacks can be really complicated. Much like the poker game with the business, I try to get excited about small wins. Have I been able to survive COVID? Yes. As a business? Yes. Is your business? Yes. It's all good. It's not growing to the point I wanted at, but the massage industry itself has been significantly disrupted and hurt because of the pandemic. Let's see what we got here. I've got a big fold. I'm not getting involved, even with the guy about the bubble. You got nothing left, bro. Put it in. But did I want to battle it with an 8 and a 4? Ah, the old. Do I have it? We have entered the final table. And he let it go anyway. Very interesting. Uh-oh. I think this guy may have screwed the pooch on this. I think he may have made a mistake. Oh, okay, did not. That was not what I thought was going on at all. I thought this guy might have had queens or higher because of the way he played that. Now you can bet on me, and even with ace nine offsuit, I'm probably gonna fold. But do you see how I play big stack? I don't play defense real well. I'll take that. He didn't crack me. Very murky. This guy sitting out, this causes a whole lot of issues. I did not want to get involved with that hand after the flop. I talk about poker being a platform for growth, learning, entrepreneurship. And I do believe that patience, persistence, playing well, the same thing holds with the business. I want it to grow. Well, I mean, it will, but you got to keep doing things and becoming the sort of entrepreneur that runs a growing business, which are different skills than being a successful massage therapist. Those are two separate things. I wear many hats: entrepreneur, business owner, massage therapist, educator, teacher, yeah, mentor. And on our 27 player, again, since we're at a 9 player table, we're at least 216, so we've basically gotten our buy-in back. First place is 1215. Fifth place is where I think the money really starts at 486. That's very ugly. My suspicion is they've got tens. I think even with, yeah, even with an ace or a jack, they probably wouldn't call that unless they had the 10. Well, this table's gotten more interesting. Ooh. Oh, man. That was profitable. That's one of the more amazing ways I've seen Queen Jack played. Whew. I'm willing to go out here. If somebody's going to jam with a weak ace, it's just over. Like there's no preventing this. Not with kings, not with big stack. You're like, but you could lose half. I mean, I could. I could lose half my stack, but hope springs eternal. So, King Jack, it's one of these things, do I want to use my stack to try to bully the guy out of the pot? raise before the flop. King Jack, I think King Queen sometimes is better playing after the fact. And here's the deal. I'm giving him some fold equity, but am I worried about an ace? Am I worried about a flush draw? It's just that the King Jack didn't hit. And that was the challenge. The pair of kings, I wasn't so concerned about playing, a little heavily before the flop, which is why I bet it out to begin with, knowing that somebody would probably call or jam. I don't think my betting style and poker at this stage is particularly nerve-wracking to other players. I think it's fairly, I hate to say this, transparent. I'm not as good at after the flop play. You know, you bet here, they got not quite half my stack, something, or about half, generally. Could they have king, queen? Yes. Ace, king. Could they have? Sure. It's, again, I'm trying to figure out what's going on at the table. What's my table image like? What do they want to call? What do they want to fold? And the situation with various hands. There are certain hands, 10-7, Jack 9, Queen 10. There are lots of suited connector hands. They play well after the flop. And the situational awareness will allow you to figure out when to play them and when to fold them. Do I want to get into a massive altercation with King Jack offsuit at this stage? And again, place 5 is where we make the real money. It's interesting to be in position, in a position, I should say, and you fold a hand, and then the next hand you raise the exact same hand, but you're in a different position with a different set of parameters at the table. I mean, you had Queen Jack, it was enough for a jam, which also makes me think he's very hard to beat because it's hard to put him on a range. I was not thinking Queen Jack, let's put it that way. And at 600, we got people with 4, 5, 6 times the big blinds. They're getting short very rapidly. Uh-oh. That's a taunt. You've seen him play Queen Jack before. Do I want to start throwing around weight with Ace 4 offsuit when all these guys are like goddamn piranha at this point, putting in minimum, trying to see who's going to bite on what? Oof. I actually want to play that hand again. I want to see that. That was not what I thought was going on at the table there. That was brutal. Limp and a shove. Oof. Yeah, I just hit that 5 at the river for his full house. Wow. So here's my challenge. I'm giving a little fold equity. I'd prefer to just get out of the way. This guy's been so aggressive with a wide range. I don't really want to get involved, ace 4. I don't play those weak aces after the flop very well. And I think I would have taken it, but that's where I get a little nervous. I would have had to play that after the flop, right? Sit there, bet, call. Does he have it? Does he not have it? It was a perfect turn card, by the way. Okay, well, I'll call that. We pray for another 3 or a 9. We did not get it. I will bet 50 again. Let's see what happens. And here, oh, why not? Okay, let's see if he'll let me limp in. And if so, the other table I took it down, by the way. It wasn't by a lot, but I did. With this, go ahead and bet. Here's more interesting. Nothing happened before the flop. Not really excited battling this guy after. Let this go. That was an awesome outcome. Awesome. And you see, this is the thing. I felt, I mean, I hit top pair, king, right? But I was nervous. I was like, man, he could be on a crazy draw. But did I give him a chance to catch up? Nope. I bet he's going to jam it out, make me wonder whether he's got it. I'm not super excited with this. I'm going to check first and see how he responds. He may be able to bet me off at this. Ace 10 is one of those more challenging hands. He's got to know at this point that I don't have a king. He's trying to determine how far ahead he may be. And in this situation, I'm going to call that. That's enough for me, depending on the bet size. See, and this is the challenge. The flush draw, the 10, I'd prefer to maintain my chip stack and battle with him on another hand. I just didn't hit like it did on the other. And for him, that may just be a good bet. That may not be him having that at all. But my betting size, that's what I mean about being a little more transparent to the other stacks and a little nerve-wracking sometimes. 'Could have easily called king, queen, king, jack, some sort of, hand like that. Could have called with a small pair at 3 of a kind. We're at 594, then it goes 756, 945, 1215. We'll see how we do. But I'm in a good spot with a nice stack. Those situations with like ace 10, stuff like that, that's unavoidable. It's just something that I'm going to have to learn how to play those hands better. 11 when the weak stack shows you a 7-2 offsuit that everybody's afraid to bet on. Not good. Super not interested in this hand unless you want to limp in. Then I'm happy to see a flop with you, sir. And no, I am not calling. Still top stack by a little. 756, 945, 1215 from here on out. But we've definitely made the money. I'm gonna have to loosen up my range a little bit. Three-handed. We'll see how it goes. And the 7,000 stack has got to pummel somebody, double up. I'd be happy to play it heads up with the gentleman to my left. He's been playing a little more aggressively than I have for sure. And this could be it, depending on what goes on. I'm not folding that three-handed. I don't want to give him a chance to catch up. I'd rather let him know that I do have something. Fold that. Over here, this is particularly funky. I'm just going to bet half the pot. I think, again, you know, I'm just going to bet. No flush draws, no whatever. I'm just going to put him in. Maybe he's got two pair. And he did not, apparently. He might have been on some sort of draw. Doesn't matter here. It's just going to go all in. I'm going to check this and pray that he jams. No flush. Nice. No diamond. Damn it! And I mean, how are you supposed to play ace jack heads up? And we're well in the money at this point. You know, it's like it doesn't matter if it takes second. That loss kind of sucked, but just life. I think a king seven is plenty strong enough here. Suited. I'm trying to regain my chip stack and stack lead. The fact that he called Jack 7 suited, that's, oh, oof, man, that's rough. Yeah, beating him with the hand that he did that with. I will check here. You'll notice I'm not paying a lot of attention to the other board. I'm too concerned about what's going on over here. I'd like an 8, please. Not super excited about this. 825, it's almost the pot. I'm gonna call, see if I draw a jack. The 7 isn't bad. I'm just gonna check it again. I'm just gonna bet 500. I'm not exactly certain what to do here. I was concerned that he might have the 8, but he didn't. I get a little confused about different layers, different stages of betting and how to do that. He decided to keep going. If he checks here, I'm going to check. Not super excited with this board overall. He did hit a 2. If he calls this or bets, I'm going to jam it. Ooh. If he had an 8, he's really annoyed right now. It's not horrible for my hand. The 6 is disconcerting, but we'll see what happens. Here, I'm gonna bet half the pot, see if he goes for it. King, queen, still got a... Here, I'm gonna go ahead and bet. If he checks, I'm just gonna check this down. Yeah, he did have a 6. I'm surprised. He might have been concerned that I had the flush. He just lucked out on his turn card there. I'm wondering if he's multi-tabling. He's taken like a really long time. Not particularly concerned about calling with that. Again, either way, 9.45. If I take first, it's 12.15. $3. That ace jack really hurt. That sucked. But those things happen. The 2 pairs, okay. I'm gonna bet back, and then my concern is if he makes any sudden movement, could he have, like, you know, the clubs that he just checked, you know, just waited for me to bet, in other words. This is more challenging. You know, if he connected with the king, how would he handle this? He'd probably bet. I mean, if you have a king, you're going to call. Doesn't matter. King, jack, king. I'm going to call this. Oh, now do you see why I'm a little annoyed? Mm-hmm. Because I don't think that was the draw that he was going for. I think he was saying he had the 10. And I had the 10 too, with a much higher kicker. Now it's going to get dirty real fast. Let's see how he handles a limp. Not super interested in my holding. Yeah, if he comes back at me. So he's going to put me down a push fold. And if he's going to play queen 10 that way, I'm about to jam. I would like another diamond, please. And that sucked, losing that way. I will call this praying for a diamond, which I do not get. I will let that go. And that's what we got, 5-7. I will limp there. I will bet there. Now, if he's paid attention to my betting patterns at all, he'd probably know I wouldn't have limped with an ace or a king, but doesn't matter. He let it go anyway. I don't think this is strong enough for a call. If I was suited, maybe. Let's do it. And he can take it, but I can only go so far before things start breaking down for me chip-wise. Okay, buddy. And I'm not calling with it. I let a 6-9 suited go. Wasn't interested. Offsuit, man. King 9, that's rough. I don't think that's good enough. Now, he's starting to definitely lean on me using his chip stack size. It's been disconcerting to lose those 2 hands, but that stuff happens. I can't keep folding forever. I've got to start, you know, betting back at him with something. My hope is I pick up a monster and bet at him and he bets back. So he's essentially, you know, push fold at this stage. He's not doing a lot of post flop action. So I'm going to limp and I want to see how he responds to this. That is a nice flop. I will check that because I'm praying that he catches a goddamned... Am I bluffing it? Oh, now. Please call. Oh, damn it. I was praying he had the goddamn ace of hearts and I was about to crack his ass. Oh. Not good. Again, king 3. I just don't like my kicker enough. Fold. Go here. Don't think the 5-6. I'll limp in. He's not been exceedingly aggressive with that so far. And you can see how that's working out for me that time. Nine or an ace. Yeah, motherfucker. Fuck you. Take that, bitch. Take that. Now, let's do it again. Take that. Yeah, that's what you fucking get. Fucking bullshit. Against his range, that's plenty strong enough. I don't love this, but I think this is strong enough for a call. Oh, hit a queen. Oh, ouch, that hurt. Man, okay. Well, I mean, I still moneyed on that. That was a little rough. That last hand, that's challenging for me. That was not how I wanted to go out, but those things happen. I'm gonna raise here, or I should say bet. I think that's strong enough just to put him all in. I'm not sure what's going on right here. Yeah, it sucked taking second on that. I really wanted first, but you know, those things happen. Concern is a weak ace. Another heart. Oh, ouch. And what do you do? Trust me, we paid for the dollar tournament already by the win we just had. I need another spade, please. And if I win that 731, I'll be kind of back. And do I get it? Nope, do not. Well, it's been a pretty good series. I'm okay with the second place. I'm not super happy about how I went out, but those 3 pivotal hands, the guy just, I don't know, just caught it. You guys have a good one. I'll talk to you soon.